Capricorn, welcome to your April astrology reading. And so before I get started, this is going to be most applicable for your rising sign, which is how other people perceive you. It's also known as your ascendant. It is still applicable for your sun sign, so that is how you express yourself, as well as your moon sign, which is how you process everything emotionally. So it is a good idea to listen to all three and really understand all three in your birth chart to really see things holistically for yourself throughout the month of April. And so jumping into the energy for the month of April, there is a mix of Aries and Taurus energy. So we start off with a lot of Aries, move into Taurus, but there is a lot of connection between the two as the month progresses. And so what this means for you is that this is going to impact your fourth and your fifth houses. So your fourth house is your house of home. Also ancestors are connected to there. I don't mention that a lot. That is going to actually be significant here when we talk about anything coming to the surface, because Chiron is in the mix. So we'll talk about that when we get there. But then also fifth house energy, which is your creativity. So your passions, your hobbies, children fall into this house, as well as short-term relationships. So really thinking about what is it that you enjoy doing with your time outside of work. And so jumping into the energy of the month, we right away on April Fool's Day have Mercury stationing retrograde. So that's going to happen at 6:14 in the evening Eastern time. And so this won't be a surprise to you as you're listening to this, because we've actually been in the pre-shadow since March 18th. And so the pre-shadow started, now we're stationing retrograde. Mercury is going to be retrograde until the 25th when it stations direct, and then we're going to be in a post-shadow until May 13th. And so when Mercury stations retrograde in the sign of Aries, it's not alone. So it'll have Chiron, the sun, and then we'll talk about the North Node, because there is an eclipse in the sign of Aries this month. But just kind of focusing here on Mercury, we'll have Mercury square Pluto. Mercury being the planet of communication. And so when it's retrograde, it's going to be inward communication, inward processing of information in the sign of Aries. And so this is a very action-oriented, very direct, very blunt type of energy. And so this is about really seeing things clearly. Square Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius is all about breaking down any kind of barriers that have you feeling trapped and just really boxed in such a way that you can't make any progress here, because that's what Pluto in Aquarius wants to do. It wants to remove those barriers that prevent you from moving forward. And so kind of keep that in mind, because Pluto in Aquarius, I mean, we're with this energy for like another 19 years. But for you, where this is going to impact you, so Pluto in Aquarius is sitting in your second house. So this is your personal finances. Mercury in Aries is in your fourth house. And so this is your home. And so when you think about your personal finances connected to your home life, what changes do you need to make in your finances in order to understand maybe more about your home life, what's happening here? This is Aries energy, and so it is about the actions that you want to take in your home. But it's not even just that, because Mercury retrograde is also conjunct Chiron in Aries. And so Chiron is the wounded healer. All of this is sitting in your house of home. And so when you think about your fourth house, what is it that you've created for yourself in your home environment? Because Chiron is bringing some sort of wound connected to your home life to the surface. And so when you think about the finances that you maybe here need to make some adjustments to with that Pluto and Aquarius energy, have you maybe, I'm getting like spent money in such a way that you can't have the home life that you're looking for? And that reason that you're doing that is because that's a coping mechanism for something that could easily be it's a coping mechanism for a lot of people. Retail therapy is definitely a thing you hear about often. I think we've all done it at some point, where you just spend money to feel better about yourself. But for some reason here, it does relate to wounds coming to the surface in your home life. And now this is where the ancestors do play in. And so there could be some sort of ancestral wound coming to the surface that has you living a specific type of life, that has you living in maybe a specific type of house in a specific location. There's something about this coming to light for you. Again, Mercury retrograde, so you're intellectually understanding what this wound is and maybe what triggered it. This could also indicate that you're being triggered sometime around the 1st as it relates to this wound. Then on the 5th at midnight Eastern time, so if you're in the West Coast or anything not on the East Coast and you're behind, then it's going to be the night before. But really this is Venus entering Aries, more Aries energy. And so when Venus enters Aries, Mercury's there, Chiron, Sun, Venus, but Venus will be conjunct Neptune in Pisces. And so Neptune in Pisces is all about your dreams, your goals. What is it that you want to do? What do you want to achieve here? Kind of think of like, what is that ideal? If you could have everything you wanted, what would it be? That's that Neptune and Pisces energy. And then with Venus and Aries, so Venus is about what you value. It is about harmony, it's balance, it's kind of grounding things back down into reality. It's that very practical way of being, but in a way that you love and you want here. And Aries is a very action-oriented sign. And so these are in a conjunction. And so what this means is, what is it that you want for your home? Third house is the one sitting there with the dreams. So when you think about your home life and maybe where do you want to live? Where is your ideal location? What kind of communication do you want to have about that location? Because this conjunction is a blending of those energies. And so when you think about your home and the actions you want to take connected to your home, again, really highlighting more location than anything else. And this would be a short distance travel. So something by car would be highlighted. So that kind of distance. So it may not be next door, but it could be a neighboring community that you really want to live in. And then it could also indicate what kind of communication. What is it about that location where you want to be? And then we talk about Pluto and Aquarius again. So Venus will be sextile Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. And so in order to have this home that you want in the location that you want, what about your personal finances need to change? Do you need to save more money? Do you need to maybe take some of the money you have and invest it into something? Or maybe this is an investment property that you want to pursue, because that could absolutely be the case. But this second house does indicate that you already have the money, or you are struggling with how to get that money, because there's some sort of barrier for you when it comes to finances. It's definitely related to some sort of saving or spending habit. Then we'll have the solar eclipse as well as the new moon in Aries on the 8th. And so the timing of this is interesting. So the eclipse itself is going to happen at 2:17 in the afternoon Eastern time. And the new moon is going to be exact 4 minutes later at 2:21 Eastern time. And so with new moons, this is all about the sun and the moon being at the same spot in the sky. This is a solar eclipse. We are in Aries Libra eclipse season. Aries eclipse is all about me. It's instead of the we. So that would be that Libra energy, but we're in the me side of it right now. And what's happening here, so we have the sun and the moon. So there's something that is coming to the surface as it relates to your emotions. You're seeing something for the first time, and what you're really, or maybe fully understanding for the first time, or maybe understanding on a deeper level with that moon energy, it's Chiron. So not only are the sun and moon at the same degree point, but so is Chiron. They're all at 19 degrees of Aries. And so this energy is really intense. It's really blended together during this eclipse. Eclipse are faded moments in time. So this wound coming to the surface is coming at the surface exactly when it's supposed to. You're understanding it when it's supposed to. This is supposed to take place. So just kind of keep that in mind. And this wound, again, connected to your fourth house. So your fourth house of home, again, what is it about your home or maybe home life? Chiron is sitting here in the mix, and I'm getting some sort of feeling, but I'm not able to articulate exactly what I'm feeling here. Could be connected to ancestors again, because that one's coming through pretty strongly here with that ancestor energy. So I don't know if there's like, an ancestor wound would be something like you feel guilty for living in a specific location, or having a house that's too big, or maybe not big enough, or something along those lines. There's some sort of ancestral wound coming to the surface as it relates to your home and the type of home life that you've already built versus the home life that you want for yourself. And so all of that's coming to the surface here. There is a connection to Pluto and Aquarius here. And so Pluto and Aquarius, there is a square between how you're processing everything here with this Mercury retrograde in the sign of Aries, square Pluto. So there are some obstacles and challenges related to this change that you want to make, or that needs to happen in your finances in order for you to be able to heal from this wound. Maybe one of your ancestral wounds is that you've never been able to buy a house, or maybe nobody in your family's been able to buy a house because you grew up poor and everybody was poor before you. And so you kind of live that lifestyle where you are not accustomed to saving, or you never really learned how to save. And so this is going to show you that that's been an obstacle for you to actually have the house that you want. And what is it that you need to do? What needs to change? Well, your mindset would need to change with that one. And so Mercury is showing up here, and is, again, it's internal actions. So you can change and you can flip the script here, but it does require you to do something about it. It requires you to work on yourself. And again, we'll also have the moon conjunct Mercury. And so the moon, again, feelings, everything, how you're processing all of this information. And so it's not just you're intellectually processing everything, you're emotionally processing everything, and you're understanding the depths of this wound and maybe what changes need to happen in order for you to heal from it and go after what you want. And then on the 19th, we'll have the sun enter Taurus. So that's going to happen at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And so we'll have the sun, Jupiter, and Uranus all in the sign of Taurus. And when that happens, we'll have the sun in Taurus conjunct Chiron in Aries. Chiron in Aries is a pretty dominant theme throughout the month of April. There's a lot that is coming to the surface here and really kind of understanding holistically how it impacts you. And so again, Chiron in Aries related to your home life. But now we have the sun in Taurus. So the sun in Taurus is connected to your fifth house. Fifth house here, it's all about your creative expression. This is about your passion projects, your hobbies, could be children, short-term relationships. All of those things are highlighted here. So when it comes to maybe wounds related to your home life, do they connect to children? How do you kind of ground yourself in this fifth house energy? Maybe it's passion project related to your home. Maybe it's, I'm trying to think of other really good examples. I mean, those are the two that really come to mind here. It could be short-term relationships, but that doesn't seem as meaningful as the passion projects, the hobbies that you have, and maybe possibly even having children here, and how that relates to the home life that you want, or maybe the home itself that you want, that physical building that you're looking for. Because this conjunction is really helping you understand how to ground yourself and how to really start to understand these wounds. How do you ground them into your creativity, your self-expression, the way that you want people to perceive you. We'll also have the sun square Pluto in Aquarius. And so again, this is creating and really showing you that you need to work on your personal finances here in order to have exactly what it is that you're looking for. So if children are something that you really want here, but maybe that's an ancestral wound that's coming to the surface. And maybe I'm going to go back to my poverty example. So if you grow up poor and you have this kind of mental block about having money or saving money or something along those lines, and it could be just education that you just don't know how, because that's not something that's taught in schools, even though it should be. And so when it comes to, okay, well, I want children, I want a family, that type of life, and so I'm gonna need to make changes to my personal finances in order to buy the house that can someday have children in it. And so this is the kind of thing that's coming to the surface here, and especially with this square Pluto in Aquarius, that's really showing you where you need to put the work in, and it is around your finances. It is around your saving versus spending habits. Then we'll have Jupiter conjunct Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So that's going to happen on the 20th at 10:27 p.m. Eastern time. And so this is a lot of the same type of energy that just keeps coming to the surface. And so Jupiter conjunct Uranus. Jupiter is all about expansion and growth. It's the most benefic planet out there. And so in a conjunction with Uranus is a blending of this energy, but Uranus likes change. It's sudden change. This is beneficial change. So this is all sitting in the sign of Taurus. This is about really kind of grounding yourself, focusing on what you value, what kind of changes need to happen here in order for you to grow and expand what you value. This is all sitting in your fifth house. And so again, if you think a little bit more long-term, and if this is connected to possibly having children, or maybe even just children in general, what needs to change here? How do you grow and how do you have children? Like, how do you incorporate that into your life in a meaningful, grounded way? Because that Venus energy, I mean, Venus in tarot is the birth of something new. There is something here about Mother Earth, Mother Nature, really just kind of helping you ground yourself, expanding this type of, okay, this is the life I want for myself, and these are the things that I need to do. So this is really more of that same type of energy. Then we'll have the full moon in Scorpio. So that's going to happen on the 23rd at 7:49 p.m. Eastern time. And so full moons, you have the sun and the moon at opposing points in the sky. And so with the moon in Scorpio, we've got this emotional transformation. It's about understanding what needs to change emotionally, opposite the sun in Taurus. And so sun in Taurus, again, when we talk about your fifth house, maybe children, creative projects, hobbies, short-term relationships. In this context, children and hobbies are really the ones that are coming through the most. And so this moon in Scorpio energy is sitting in your house of community, your friends. And so maybe there's something here, maybe there's some sort of change that needs to happen with your friends. And if we're incorporating your finances into the mix, because that's been coming up and showing you where there's opportunity, where you really have to work on yourself, maybe it's going out less with friends in order to be able to save, to buy the house, to have the children. That could be coming up here. There is this emotional component, this emotional transformation internal that needs to happen as you relate to your community of friends. And maybe it's about expanding your group of friends, or changing some of your friends, spending more time with some friends versus others, because these people are going to be more beneficial. They're going to be more supportive when it comes to what it is that you're trying to go after. The energy here is a push-pull type of energy. You can find that happy medium, but what it's really doing is just bringing everything to the surface so that you can see it and do something about it. We'll also have the moon square Pluto in Aquarius. And so again, when you think about your finances here, Pluto in Aquarius with this moon energy, again, not a surprise. This is definitely connected to your friends. And again, it could be really highlighting here that maybe it's spending less money or going out less frequently, maybe not taking all those vacations or something along those lines, or maybe not even trying to keep up with other people when it comes to the vehicles that they drive. You don't always have to have the latest and greatest, and that could be anything, but that could also indicate the type of relationship that you have with your friends that's coming to the surface that needs to transform. Then we'll have Mercury station direct, so it'll be in the sign of Aries, and so that's going to happen on the 25th at 8:54 in the morning Eastern time. And so we'll be in the post shadow until the 13th, but now when Mercury was retrograde, this was a lot of internal processing. Now it's a lot of external processing. So this is some sort of communication, whether it's written, whether it's verbal, whatever it is, there is this kind of flip now where it's a lot of outward communication. And so we'll have Mercury conjunct Venus in the sign of Aries. And this is, again, all about your home. And so when you think about what it is that you want in your home, what kind of home life are you looking for? This is giving you an opportunity to really communicate what you've been learning about yourself throughout the month of April. It's going to be a lot easier to have those conversations with other people. And it's not highlighting any kind of specific, like I'm not getting your specific family or friends. This is really just, you're going to feel like it's a little bit easier to process and talk to people about. And then on the 29th at 7:32 in the morning Eastern time, we'll have Venus enter the sign of Taurus. And so what happens here is right away, Venus will be conjunct Sun in Taurus. And so Venus is the ruler of Taurus, Sun is in Taurus. And so this is a lot of that kind of harmonious, balanced, grounded, what you value type of energy when it comes to that fifth house energy. So it's about grounding, maybe grounding your goals and your expectations when it comes to having a family, pursuing that passion project. This is really giving you a lot of insight here on what it is that needs to be done, because we'll also have Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries. And so even though Chiron is sitting in a different sign, it's about, okay, well, if I'm going to heal from this wound, I need to be able to ground myself. This is a lot of understanding on what needs to happen here. And it's going to come as no surprise to you that their Venus and the Sun are both square Pluto in Aquarius. And so again, when it comes to your personal finances, what needs to change in your spending habits in order to have the home life that you want, in order to have the home that you want, so that maybe you can have these children. And so what this is doing is it's really kind of adding all of these layers onto this kind of this path forward. It's really opening your eyes to everything that's happening here, triggers coming to the surface, finding ways to heal from those triggers, understanding that what your actions right now are doing that might be creating some sort of barrier to having everything that you want here. And so that's what's really being highlighted throughout the month of April. We'll also have Mars enter the sign of Aries. So that's going to happen on the 30th at 11:33 in the morning Eastern time. So like we're getting in there right before the end of the month. And so Mars is the ruler of Aries. And so with Mars now kind of in the mix, this Aries mix, this is all about action, not sitting back, not letting things go by. Mars is very direct, it's very blunt, it's very straightforward. And so it'll be conjunct Neptune and Pisces. And so again, the Aries energy is sitting in your house of home. So what actions do you want to take connected to your home as they relate to the dreams that you have connected to that third house energy? So it could be short distance travel, could be siblings, could be communication. And so what this tells me is maybe you're in talks to buy a home or to meet with somebody to start discussing what it is that you need to do. How do you come up with a savings plan? Do you need to talk to somebody, some sort of banker or some sort of investment person, somebody that's going to help you really create that financial portfolio so that you can buy the house that you're looking for? We'll also have Mars in a sextile to both Pluto and the moon, both moon and Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. And so again, understanding the emotional impact of these changes to your finances and how that can help you get the home that you want. These are positive changes here. This is removing those barriers that prevent you from having that home that you want, from maybe starting a family. And so this is kind of coming full circle here. And now we're getting to the point where it's very action oriented. There was a lot of internal reflection during the month of April. Now by the end of the month, this is a lot of external, let me take action on this. And these sextiles, because earlier in the month, these were squares. So this was challenging for you. Now these are opportunities. So easier to work with. This still does require you to put some effort in, but it's easier to work with. And we'll also have Mars sextile Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. And so when you think about, again, that fifth house energy when it comes to children or your passion projects, it's that grounded, realistic birth of something new, really, as it relates to your home life. And so all these actions that you're taking in order to have the home that you want is setting you up for this kind of next chapter as it unfolds. So Capricorn, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.